In my previous video about the London Coffee Festival, I did say there wasn't much interesting, but that doesn't mean there was nothing interesting. Now, in and amongst the festival, there were a couple of things that I wanted to know more about. One of those was the new project from Maxwell Colonna-Dashwood called Peak Water. Now, this is a water treatment jug, similar to kind of BRITA water filters, designed specifically for coffee. And that's kind of a big deal because in London, there's not much in the way of a good solution. I won't go too much into detail about why water chemistry is important. I would probably recommend checking out Maxwell's book and listening to some of the talks he's given. Out there, none of the home filter solutions like the BRITA style cartridges have really done what's necessary to turn very hard water into good water for coffee. And Maxwell's project has a pretty cool solution to that, and I'm very excited to see it come to market in the next 6 months or so. I'll hand it over to Maxwell. I'll let him explain a little bit more, and I'll see you after this quick interview.
So the idea was, wouldn't it be really cool if we could get industry water filtration technology and maybe tweak it a bit, make it a bit better, make it based on what we've learned, but ultimately if we could get it into a water jug, this really rudimentary thing that lots of people have in their homes around the world, and we can make it adjustable and it can make their coffee taste better. That's the idea. What they do is, yeah, effectively, a BRITA, I describe a typical non-branded filter jug as like a pour over for water. Yeah. It's just, imagine like a V60 full of a mix of some carbon and an ion exchange resin. Yeah. And then all the water passes through that, and hopefully the carbon does some work on it and so does the resin, and you get a fixed result. Yeah. So it doesn't matter which water you put in, it's going to act on all the waters the same. Yeah. You'll get a different result with the water you put in. So the problem we have is a really hard water needs more treatment than a softer water. But even though most companies who produce drugs produce much more sophisticated versions for cafes, the versions for people's homes are a very simple approach. Yeah. So for my own personal frustration, the whole beginning of the water project was recognizing, it wasn't even recognizing, it was going, oh okay, so we've got a problem, our coffee doesn't taste how we want it to. Yeah. The person who roasted this coffee doesn't think it tastes how it should either. Yeah. We both tested our waters, we tested the TDSs, they read kind of the same. That was the beginning. Why don't they taste the same? And actually the TDS doesn't really tell us what's in the water, it just tells us there's something there. Yeah. What we've done is people will get a little test kit, nice and simple, and we'll tell them how to set it. Now if they are really into coffee and they want to go off-piste and they want to adjust it to their preference, up to them too. But ultimately it'll adjust the alkalinity, and then we've basically separated the treatment into 3 chambers. So we've got the carbon, which you mentioned before, it's going to get rid of things like chlorine, organic compounds, anything we don't really want. Everybody kind of agrees you need carbon. Yeah. So all the water goes through the carbon. And we've created these maze systems. We're calling baffles or filter maze systems, all these different things. And it means that all the water is forced to find its way through all of the carbon before it gets out the other side. The problem with, it's a bit like, you know, on a pour over you would have channeling. You have that same problem with a water filter, because a lot of the water doesn't actually get treated. Right. But then the hardness is going to be dealt with by the 2nd chamber and the 3rd chamber, which will have 2 different resins in. So the way resins work is they swap things around, right? So you charge these little tiny beads that look, we've got some in here, you can just see them inside. They're really, really small, like sand almost. They get charged with ions, and they swap with ions in the water. If you want cations, you can only do those. Yeah. So that's why we need the 2 different resins. Yeah. One for anions and one for cations. In simple terms, one to focus on things like calcium and magnesium, yeah, and one to focus on things like nitrates and sulfates. Yeah. Yeah. So we're still debating what this represents and what this represents. Okay. I think we would have this for a soft setting water and this for a hard. We may add more settings. The coffee community is very good at giving data, so lots of people around the world, when we asked them to, tested their water and told us what kind of water they had. There will be an upper limit on this. Right. Somebody, quite rightly from Mexico, said, oh, we can't drink our water in Mexico, where I am. Can we use this jug? And the answer is no. It's for clean drinking water.
Right.
To optimize it for coffee brewing.
Yeah.
And also at the higher level, we haven't said it yet, but I would say that once you start going to like 800 parts per million, no matter what we do, we're going to have a struggle. Okay. So there'll be an upper limit on it. And then what a lot of people quite rightly ask is what's the life of the filter? And in the coffee industry, people are used to having a different life based on the water, but people at their homes aren't. So ultimately, at the moment, it's quite an analog device. So we were adding all these things in, like little testers, a digital display, and the price was going up and up and up. But we really wanted to make it accessible price-wise. So we've tried to focus on the core principles, and it's quite analog. So you would need to test your water, and then the booklet will say, okay, you can get 100 litres out of this. Yeah. And then it's kind of up to the user to be aware of that 100 litres.
I think people are probably quite surprised how quickly they'll taste when a filter's done.
That's the other thing.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
you get used to it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like once you start drinking well-prepared water, and then you notice your filter runs out, you're like, this coffee just doesn't taste. Oh, it's the water. Right? And the little light goes
people
on.
are surprised. They start to notice it without knowing that they're noticing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then but the other thing that's interesting, which we have to tell people, is these systems, all of us, BRITA, BWT, us, they're all open to the air. Whereas in a cafe, that system's sealed.
Right.
So the life is literally when the filter can't do its job anymore. But with these, there's a freshness element, which is, so there's EU regulations around it, which is to do with bacteria buildup. Yeah. So we have to tell people to change them at 2 months, regardless of use.
Yeah. Is that like a legal requirement?
Yeah. Right. We've got 27 days left.
Okay.
I've never done a Kickstarter before. Talking to you yesterday was very useful. I found out some new things we could start doing today. Yeah. But yeah, I spoke to people who've done it, and there's lots, there's the rules. 30 days seems to be
normal.
The rule, yeah. And getting most of the money through the door in the first couple of days. So we're 3 days in, and we're 67% funded.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And then obviously, yeah, if we raise more money, great. We can make more jugs. And hopefully get there quicker. Obviously, if we don't hit the target, we don't get anything. Yeah. But the money is for the tooling.
Gotcha. Which is always the painful part of these things.
Yeah, I think I didn't even really recognise what tooling costs. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Yeah.
So, but I think the coffee communities are very. It's kind of easy to get them excited by it, and they understand the challenges, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when are you hoping to deliver?
November.
November?
Yeah.
That's pretty good for Kickstarter.
6 months, yeah.
That's pretty good.
So we've got, so what we've got now is filters that work. Yeah. We're deciding exactly on the resins, and we would like to get it faster. Right now it takes about 8 minutes. Yeah. We think, and that's on the setting where you're treating really hard water.
Right, maximum.
Yeah, right. So
time.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you set it harder, or we tell you to set it harder or whatever, and you use all the mazes, you slow that time right down. Right. But we would like to be maximum of 5 minutes. Yeah. Oh, and just quickly, can I talk about soft water?
Yeah.
So lots of people have asked questions about soft water, and the truth is the primary design behind this was treating what I would call problem water, moderate to hard water. On the flip side, soft water is still a problem water, just less of a problem water. Yes. People who live in Glasgow or anywhere around the world with soft water have been quite receptive to adding minerals to their water, whether they follow the Barista Hustle concentration or our book or whatever. And the idea is that with the discs, they're interchangeable. And once we launch this, which we think is solving the biggest problem, we then intend to look at a second disc.
Like a remineralizing disc.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
If you want to know more, then right now Maxwell's Kickstarter is live. I think it's pretty much funded. So if you want to get involved, now is a good time. I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can get behind it. I look forward to seeing it come to market in about 6 months from now. So that was one of the things that I thought was pretty cool at the London Coffee Festival this year.